What is up, boys and girls? It's Seb here with Modify Up. In today's episode, we're going to be doing our first product review. And today we have GKtech's V4 Camber arms on the chopping block. So let's dive in and check it out. Let me just start by saying this is not a paid review, and GKtech has no control over what I have to say here. So yes, I actually blew the moths out of my wallet and bought these for the Silvia. Opening the box, you can see the packaging is already damaged, which is fine, as long as the contents have been well insulated inside. Any reasonable person understands that the postal service couldn't give two shits about how they handle the goods. I've always been a little bit cautious with GKtech's products. When my past experience in the early days of the company, the products looked and felt like they were cheaply made Chinese knockoffs of Chinese knockoffs. But I was hugely impressed with how far they've progressed over the years. And once I had the arms in hand, all of my reservations washed away. So, unboxing the arms, they come assembled already with only the boots left to put on them. Or so you would think. But we'll touch on that in a moment. Looking at the arms themselves, they offer a unique turnbuckle arrangement which allows you to lengthen the arm up to a total of 348 mils maximum length, or shorten the arm to 290 millimeters minimum length. That's almost 60 millimeters of total adjustment. This is the description taken directly from their website. These camber arms allow for approximately -5 to +7 degrees of camber adjustment. V4 arms feature high quality 5/8 inch Teflon lined pillow ball rod ends which eliminate the flex found in factory rubber bushings, offering a more direct and predictable feel. V4 arms are manufactured from chromoly 28mm OD, 3mm wall, tube with billet CNC machined ends with recessed ends for additional strength. CAD designed, FEA tested, CNC machined ends, CNC mandrel bent arms, CNC tube notched and TIG welded. 20-degree bend in the end of the arm to clear chassis rails on lowered vehicles. Let's just make a mental note here that there's no mention of the turnbuckle adjuster nut or sleeve itself, or the material in which it's made from. These arms are particularly cool as people running Nissan suspension in other cars like say a Corolla or an E30, they can shorten the arm way past the stock length to decrease the track width and still maintain a good scope of camber adjustment. I'm going to go ahead here and pull out my old camber arms so you can see an example of well-used, antiquated arms that really have no business being on my car anymore. While I'm pulling these out, let's talk about why you would need camber arms. Well, I wouldn't suggest changing camber arms by themselves. Mine are old and the rod ends feel like a sausage through a hallway. Let's pause for the mental image here. Not only are they worn, they've been touching the body under full squat, so it's only a matter of time before they break. And this is the main reason why I'm changing them. The suspension on my Silvia is fully adjustable minus the lower control arm, so keep in mind if you're going to replace the factory arm, you really want to do all three arms at once. Those being traction, camber and tow. As with most IRS setups, the lower you run the car, the more camber you're going to induce. Now, I won't go into specifics here, but the main point is that at some stage you're going to need to correct your alignment and tune the contact patch with the road again. If you don't know what you're doing, please take it to a professional. Otherwise, if you're keen to give a home alignment a try, I'll release a video later on home alignments without a setup flat patch, just using a string line. Now that we have the arms out, we can do a side-by-side of some really nasty arms. These have served well with about 2 years of road use and a few track days, but as you can see, they've had their day, and just like Donald Trump, are ready to be retired. My main reason for choosing the GKtech arms was not for the crazy amount of adjustment they have, but for the included angle in the arm itself. There are only a few companies offering this type of included arm angle, and this is to cater for people with super low cars where the rod end touches the chassis rail under full squat, or the drive shaft boot touches the arm itself. Comparing the old style arms, you can see just how much of a difference there is clearance-wise when it comes to the tie rod end. Now, onto the turnbuckle assemblies. Back in the day when I was working at Formula Ford, after every race meeting, we would pull the car in and disassemble each arm. We would clean it, re-tap the threads, and then every moving part was lubricated before reassembly, including applying anti-seize to all the turnbuckle threads. Now, the GKtech arms come fully assembled, which leads me to think that they're happy for you to throw them in straight out of the box and send it. I find this misleading as the threads come with some form of lubrication on them, but this is more likely to be an anti-corrosion coating, just for storage and maybe for shipping. I'm completely confident that this is inadequate for the long run. GKtech, maybe you can correct me here in the comments, but in this case, I'm going to future-proof these, and we're going to disassemble the arms and apply anti-seize to all the threads and reassemble. But this is where I found the next problem. On reassembly, I found that one of the arm's turnbuckles was very notchy when turning the thread. On closer inspection, I found what looked to be several casting imperfections in the main 32mm turnbuckle sleeve shown here. No problem. Being that I've already lubricated the threads, I'll just work the sleeve in and out of the arm several times until it begins to rotate freely. This is the only thing I can suggest will be a problem in the future. If I'd fitted these arms without lubricating the threads, a year down the track the arms will have seen some water and some road grime by then. These would be very difficult to adjust on car as the threads could potentially seize. Lubricating the turnbuckle should be normal practice for any adjustment threads, whether or not they're coated with some form of anti-seize from factory. Let's not forget that Tane actually released an anti-seize spray for their coilovers because of an incompatible anti-seize plating on them. Don't get caught with your pants down, lube them before you put them in. So let's check out the rod ends on the arms. This is always a hot topic because this is what will ultimately make or break how the arm performs. GKtech are using a 5/8 inch Teflon lined rod end, which is essentially the industry standard for these type of arms. This is a good thing. This means that if you damage an arm or you get play in one of the rod ends, you can easily run down to your local bearing supplier and pick up a replacement. The rod end itself, being Teflon lined, means no maintenance is required and shouldn't be lubricated, as any lubricants here can react with the Teflon and ultimately shorten the life of the joint. The included rubber boots here initially feel a little big for the joint, but once you slip in the spaces, they fit snugly around, stopping any road dirt, grime, water coming in. As these joints are so common, it's very difficult to gauge their quality by eye. So we will let time be the test for these. Fitting the arms is a breeze, with the updated half moon style really speeding up the process. I'd recommend getting some eccentric lockouts here and installing those at the same time so that you eliminate any false adjustment from the eccentrics moving around once tightened. Being that these arms are chrome moly, they're relatively lightweight and should prove strong enough for most. The bending, notching and welding on the arms looks very consistent, and I have no problems running these as opposed to big name Japanese arms. So in closing, these arms are extremely good value for their price point and tick all the boxes for an entry-level track day enthusiast, all the way up to a professional competitor. The only bad thing I have to say is that the set that I received had a notchy turnbuckle with inconsistent casting, which was resolved with proper lubrication. This doesn't affect how the arm performs once it's freed up and all the adjusting threads are lubed. This should be done regardless of what arm or what brand you're buying. GKtech, maybe you can include a small sachet of anti-seize with your arms and ship them disassembled. This will force people to lubricate them before they put them together. All up, I rate these arms 4 hot dogs out of 5. I'll be testing these at the track next week, so we'll come back in about a year and see how they're holding up. That is it, guys. I hope you enjoyed this review and maybe it helped sway you in one way or another. If there's any products you guys want me to review, make sure you drop a comment down below. And I just want to thank each and every one of you for stopping by and watching this video. Without your support, none of this would happen. So thank you. If you like what you see here, make sure you drop me a like or consider subscribing. Or you can follow me on Instagram @ModifyUp, just so you don't miss out on any of the new updates. That's it, guys. Okay, bye.